The saga of the Sinful Spells continues, with Rage of the Abyss introducing Sinful Spells' very own archetype, Azamina, a new fusion archetype with no main deck monsters. But how exactly does this work? You need monsters to fusion summon, don't you? Azamina's secret lies in the normal spell, Sacred Azamina. Activating it allows you to reveal an Azamina fusion monster from your extra deck, then set a Sinful Spell or trap from your hand or field to the graveyard for every 4 levels it has, to special summon it. Essentially, fusion summoning with Sinful Spells, and traps. In addition, if Sacred Azamina is in your graveyard, you can target an Azamina monster you control or in your graveyard to shuffle it back into your deck, and if you do, you can add Sacred Azamina to your hand. This ensures that not only will Azamina always have a way to fusion summon, but they'll always have something to fusion summon. Sacred Azamina provides the template the rest of our cards will follow, with every other Azamina spell and trap having some variation of these effects. While Azamina Aphelitis is a relatively standard quick play fusion spell that can also banish itself from the graveyard to revive an Azamina monster, Azamina Hamatia is a trap that fusion summons by shuffling Sinful Spells or traps back from the graveyard or banishment, and can also banish itself from the graveyard to set a Sinful spell or trap from your graveyard, although it cannot be activated this turn. While Sacred Azamina will usually be used for the bulk of our fusion summoning, both of these cards are still great in their own right, especially with their ability to interrupt by fusion summoning on the opponent's turn. But even with all these fusion cards, you'll still need fusion materials, even if they look a little weird. For that, Sinful Spells Deception has you covered. This continuous spell lets you tribute a monster from your hand or field to search for an Azamina card, providing the deck with some much needed searching, as well as allowing them to be indirectly searched through cards that can search Sinful Spells. If a monster is sent to your opponent's graveyard while you control an Azamina monster, you can make them lose 1500 life points while you gain 1500 life points. But more importantly, during the end phase, if this face-up card was sent from the field to the graveyard this turn, you can set it to your field, allowing Deception to act as, at minimum, 2 fusion materials, with the potential for more. Providing Azamina with searching, card advantage, and a surprisingly relevant burn effect, Sinful Spells Deception really is just a complete package, and we want to see it basically every game. Finally, we get to their fusion monsters, of which there are 2 tiers. Level 6s, which require only 1 Sinful Spell or trap to fusion summon, and level 8s, which require 2. Keep in mind that these do still have regular fusion materials, if you'd like to fusion summon them through other methods. Murisalago is the main searcher of the deck, being able to search for an Azamina or Sinful Spells card if fusion summoned. In addition, it also searches if it is destroyed by battle or card effect, this time for a Sinful Spells spell. As an added bonus, it also causes your opponent's monsters to lose 500 attack and defense for each Azamina monster you control, an effect which can quickly add up. Ria Severa, on the other hand, is the main interruption of the deck, being able to tribute itself when your opponent activates a card or effect to negate the effect. Like Risalago, it also searches for a Sinful Spells card if destroyed by battle or card effect, in this case a trap. And to top it all off, Severa also doubles the battle damage any other Azamina monsters deal, as a treat. The last level 6 is Soa Rishinon, a monster that if fusion summoned can target and send a card on the field to the graveyard. This is great removal, and since we have plenty of ways to summon it on an opponent's turn, it can also double as an interruption. But arguably, its more important effect is its effect to during each standby phase, add a Sinful Spells or Azamina card from your graveyard to your hand, which although unassuming, really shores up the resource loop of the deck. Each of these fusion monsters fills an important role in the deck, and we'll be summoning each of them pretty much every game. Last but not least, we have the boss monster of the deck, the only level 8 Moarigina. While this means that you do have to use an additional material to special summon it, it makes up for it with 2 powerful effects. Firstly, it can target another illusion in our graveyard to special summon it, allowing us to bring back any of our other fusion monsters that we've already summoned. Secondly, when a Sinful Spells or Azamina card or effect is activated, Moarigina has the quick effect to target up to 2 cards on the field to destroy. While obviously Moarigina is a strong monster, it can be surprisingly situational. Not only does it require a setup to use its quick effect, the additional material it requires usually means that you'll have to give up another fusion summon if you'd like to summon it. This means that most of the time, you'll probably be better off not going for Regina, but if it does come out, the game is probably won. Well, this is a pretty solid lineup of cards, especially including the Sinful Spells cards that already exist. The fact of the matter is, Azamina simply just doesn't have enough cards at the moment to be its own deck, which means that you'll usually have to play it as a mix with other decks, namely Snake Eyes and Whitewoods. This is the standard combo for Azamina that requires Diabol Star and any other card. We begin by special summoning her by sending the other card to the graveyard, then activating her effect to set Sinful Spell's Deception from our deck. We'll go ahead and activate Sinful Spell's Deception, activating its effect to tribute Diablo Star to search for an Azamina card, in this case, Sacred Azamina. Now we can activate Sacred Azamina, revealing Murcielago in our extra deck and sending Sinful Spell's Deception to the graveyard to special summon it. On Fusion Summon, Murcielago will search for an Azamina or Sinful Spells card. Depending on the version of the deck you're playing, this card will be different, but for the pure version, we'll search for Sinful Spells of Slumber, Morion. Now we activate the effect of Sacred Azamina in our graveyard, shuffling Murcielago back into our extra deck to add it to our hand. From here, we simply activate Sacred Azamina a second time, this time revealing Rhea Severa and sending Morion to the graveyard to special summon it. Now, since we control a level 5 or higher illusion monster, we can activate the effect of Morion in our graveyard, setting it to our field. Finally, we'll go to our end phase, where Sinful Spell's Deception will set itself to our field. For the Snake Eyes combo, the beginning is pretty similar. We once again begin by special summoning Diablo Star by sending any card to the graveyard, and activate her to set Deception from our deck. Now, we activate Deception to tribute her, searching for Sacred Azamina. Like before, we activate Sacred Azamina to reveal and special summon Murcielago, but where it begins to differ is what she searches, as this time, we're searching for the original Sinful Spell, Snake Eye. Activating the effect of the Sacred Azamina in our graveyard, we return Murcielago to our extra deck and add it to our hand. Once again, we activate Sacred Azamina to special summon Rhea Severa, but this time, we're sending Snake Eye to the graveyard. Finally, we banish Snake Eye from the graveyard, allowing us to search for Snake Eye Ash, which we can then normal summon to continue our Snake Eyes combo. Unfortunately, Whitewoods doesn't have it quite as easy. While Azamina is great in the deck, unlike Snake Eyes, Azamina has no way to bridge into Whitewoods. However, Whitewoods can access Azamina, either using Cartesia or Proxy F Magician, although you don't get much reward out of either unless you also drew an extender. And that's all really there is to Azamina at the moment. Unfortunately, the deck can't quite stand on its own yet, but it definitely wasn't meant to. Between variations like Whitewoods and Snake Eyes, Azamina at the moment is a strong supporting engine, which while somewhat disappointing, at least provides those decks with an additional way to play. That being said, here's hoping that the next wave brings the deck into its own.